Warning. The following program contains strong language and subject matter which may be offensive to some viewers and/or inappropriate for children. The content within this program is intended for mature audiences only.
Well, hello everyone! Welcome to Inside the Drag Closet, the interactive vodcast where we talk about all things drag and some things that aren't. Who knows? We're really just here to have a good time. We have an amazing episode planned for you this evening. We have from Camp Wannakiki Season 4, the incredible Vincent Milay will be joining me here this evening. I am so excited. We've actually been chatting backstage for quite a while now. We actually got ready together. I am so excited for all of you to meet him. Sadly, my co-host Amethyst will not be joining us this evening. She had something come up, but I did want to take a moment and just express how proud I am of her for competing at Miss Gay America this week. I know a lot of people were watching. A lot of people were keeping updated with everything. She did win. I'm going to pull the award up here. The Miss Gay America 2023 Dextasy's Favorite Interview. That is amazing. We had Dextasy on the show just a couple weeks ago, and she was so much fun. Amethyst won Best Interview from Dextasy. And a huge shout out to our new Miss Gay America, the incredible Tatiana Vaucher, who, if you were not watching, you missed it because she was stellar. It was so good. I had never watched Miss Gay America before, and it was just a treat to behold. I am very inspired. While that's not my journey, I'm just definitely it was very cool to watch. Speaking of watching, let's see who's watching this evening. I see Robin and Vicky are here. Hope you two are having a good time. Jess is watching. We've got a lot of Patreons watching already. Fantastic. Daniel, hello, darling. I hope you are doing well. Let's see, who else do we have? So proud of Amethyst. So are we all. Much love to Amethyst. Ellen is watching this evening. Hello, darling. How are you? Robin, we screamed so much when Amethyst Diamond won that. Oh my God. I was not watching that night, unfortunately. I needed a mental health break from it for a little bit. You know, when drag's your job, you're just kind of inundated. And I was like, this is going to be my day of rest. But yeah, when I heard she won that, I was so proud of her. The whole pageant was very captivating. Very true. Julie, hello, darling. How are you? Cassie is here. Cassie was Amethyst's dresser all weekend, so she got to see all the behind-the-scenes shenanigans. She was actually our guest 2 weeks ago here on Inside the Drag Closet. She got to see it. And, of course, Jada Sparks is here, who was in the audience the whole time. Jada will be actually on the show kicking off Autism Awareness Month in April. So that is going to be fun as well. Demetra is watching as well. Hello, darling. How are you? Good to see you tonight. And, of course, we wouldn't have an Inside the Drag Closet with Camp Wannakiki without Paula Frost, who happens to be the drag mother of our incredible guest, who we'll be getting to in just a moment. Before we do, I just wanted to do a little who, what, where about me. Who am I? My name is Jade Veer. I'm a drag artist based out of Central Pennsylvania. I love the art of drag. It gives me a chance to bundle up when it starts getting cold outside. Poor Panda stuck in the snow. Yeah, there's a blizzard going on here right now. The roads are gross. So I was like, I'm going to bundle up tonight. That'll be fun. What am I wearing? I am wearing my panda jammies. Because I can. Yeah, I wanted to do panda jammies, hair, which was a gift from my drag child, Mikhail Bono. My face tonight is Wet n Wild. My eyes are Kimchi Chic. My lips are the Lip Bar, which I love the Lip Bar. I actually just ordered more. So yeah, That's what I'm wearing. And where can you find me? You can find me every other Wednesday right here on Inside the Drag Closet on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. I also have a few shows coming up. This Saturday, I will be at the Crimson Moon in Wilmington, Delaware for a Saturday night spectacular with Latanga Manchez, Erotica Cliche, and Satine Harlow. Tickets for Divas Down Under are on sale for our Valentine's Day Love It or Leave It drag show starring Poison, myself, Katarina Couture, Amethyst Diamond, Jayla Nicole, Paula Frost, and Sebastian Taylor. If you've never seen Sebastian before, oh, daddy. And we have a new show that is coming up thanks to Gutbuster Entertainment. We are doing Drag Me to the Tavern in St. Leonard, Maryland. Now, the first Drag Me to the Tavern show sold out so quickly. We are doing 2 back-to-back shows with Amethyst Diamond, Chastity Vane, Katarina Couture, Alizela Diamond, and myself. Both of those shows are Friday, March 31st. The first show is at 8 p.m. Second show is at 11 p.m. Get your tickets ASAP because they will not last. But that's enough of me talking. We are here for our special guest, and I am very excited for everyone to meet him this evening. So, everyone, let's welcome to Inside the Drag Closet my incredible guest, Vincent Milay!
Hello! Hello!
And Dodo!
And Dodo, yes. Hello.
So, Vincent, while we got you here, do you want to give us a little who, what, where about you?
So I'm Vincent Milay, and I am the Gothfather of Seattle. This is Dodo. He is my familiar, and I am a drag performer, an actor, stand-up comedian, if you will, narcissist, here in Seattle. That's who I am, yeah.
Excellent. And where can we find you?
So you can find me currently doing a lot of theater things. So you'll be able to find me at Village Theater, at the Hunt Theater. So I have 2. Doing Misstep, which is a new musical. And it's co-choreographed by Laganja Stranger and directed by Connor Gallagher from Beetlejuice. He directed Beetlejuice. So we're working on that project, and that's going to be February 11th through the 19th.
Wow, that's fun.
Yeah.
Well, let's just dive right in. Is Paula Frost really a monster?
I would say she's like what was his name? Sully from Monsters Inc., right? Like looks scary, but is just like soft and tall. I guess that makes me boo.
That is so cute. Paula says you look so tucking great.
Thanks, Mom.
That's awesome. So let's talk a little bit about Camp Wannakiki. What was that like?
I'm still under an NDA. No. It was really fun and also like challenging at the same time, I would say. Because we were in bunks meant for children who were like I wouldn't even call them twin beds. They're just like tiny little
cots.
Right. And so like I made like a little cave around mine with all of my drag. And like I had like a little fan in there. So I had 2 little fans, and I had one that like I used a shoestring and I like tied it up near my bed. It was like, and then I was like, is this camp or is this prison? I don't know, but like here's all my stuff.
Paula said they were cribs.
They were cribs. I think Flapjack was the only one that slept on the top because they were bunks. And so like they went and like slept on the top of theirs, and everybody else like slept on the bottom. We eventually moved Paula to her own room because she kept snoring.
The tea! That's amazing.
Yeah.
What was it like doing drag like out in the wilderness like that though?
So like for me, the good thing was that like I just wore, shorts and everything. I didn't have like pads and boobs and all of that on. So for me, it was probably the first summer where I never had to deal with boob sweat. So that was cool. And anymore. And so yeah, I would say though, like the hardest part was when we were on the raft, because at that point I was using a lot of water-based makeup. And so coming out of the water and like everything's just running. Like it's
Oh,
so
that's the show I'm here for, though.
Oh, and it felt so nasty. It was like, ooh, gross. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, and you had the unfortunate distinction of going home first,
Yes. Yeah.
which didn't last. But can you tell us a little bit about what it was like in that moment that you were just kind of like, oh, me, great.
Yeah, well, it's like this roller coaster of emotions, right? Where you're still like, for me, I was a little delirious still. I feel like I was still a little jet lagged, right? And you've just met all of these people like the day before, and then now because like the first day you're like doing stuff together, so you're like, yay, we're friends, and then now we're competing, and then you're on stage, and everybody's left. And you're like, all right, cool, maybe I'm in the top, and then you realize really slowly, oh no, baby, you're not, and then you're like, okay, and I was like, you can't cry on stage. Like I could feel it. And I was like, you're not gonna, no. But like, it just felt like the world just went.
Wow. Paula's saying she was in pure shock.
Yeah. It was just like, the whole world kind of closes, because there's that thing where it's like joked about, right? Where it's always joked about like, well, I don't care where I place as long as I don't go home first. Because you'd be shitty if you went home first, even though we know that like, the percentage chance of going home first, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, there hasn't been a king who went home first yet, right? Right? And so I was like, cool, the odds are not for me. Cool.
Well, and luckily, like, you did get a chance to come back.
Yeah.
Which I agreed with what you said on the show. I was like, good, because kings don't get the representation that queens do right now.
Yeah.
I was very happy. We were talking about it earlier, how obsessed I am with that otter look. It was so good. And you played him. We all know that person at the bar who's just like, hi, I'm here for a good time. That. It was just so amazing. Did you feel that responsibility being I don't want to say the only king, because, Clinica's drag does transcend king or queen, but did you feel any sort of responsibility in that?
Yeah, I felt a lot of responsibility, and I always feel a lot of responsibility in terms of like being a trans man drag king.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is my identity, right? That's my gay agenda. And so like I had a lot of responsibility of that, and the fact of like representing Seattle, because no one had represented Seattle yet. And so I think I probably put so much pressure on myself, where it starts to mess with you a little bit,
I bet.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do some quick research. How many kings have been on Camp Wannakiki so far? I know Boris.
Like, where's Opal? She knows everything. So there's Boris, Brett. There's another one, right? There's another one, right? 3? Am I the 4th?
I
think there was one of these. No, was there not one the first season? So has there only been 2? Besides. And then.
Let me double check.
I've been drinking. I don't know. I went to college.
Positive art. I'm looking and double checking. But you're in a very small fraternity of kings who have had, television exposure.
Yeah, like in general. Yeah, if we go in general on TV, it's like less than 10 of us.
Yeah. It's
regardless of trans or not, right? It's period. Yeah.
Orion Angel is saying that Boris, Rhett, Vincent, and we do have some, especially on Camp Wannakiki, who transcended king or queen.
Right.
Like Claire, apparently.
Right.
Clinica.
Right.
But, aside from you and, Landon Sider, who was on Dragula, there's not a lot of king representation in the media. And I think we were talking about that. We were talking about like pageantry and competitions, and the fact that it needs to change.
Yeah. I'm definitely someone where I already have in my head, like, I don't know. I don't want it's that moment where you have ideas for the future, but you don't want to sound pretentious. But at the same time, you're like, I strive for greatness. So like, these are the things that I wish my like ideal society would have. And like, for me is I really am like, I want to find a way to really have the same kind of pageantry, but like with kings. But at the same time, in general, I really, for my own drag, want to move away from competitions, because I feel like we're already competing enough in society for anything. So, then you have marginalized communities within a bigger marginalized communities, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, shouldn't we all just be working to showcase all of our talents? And so for me, I kind of wish there was more of a like America's Got Drag talent. You know what I mean? Where it's like, if you're going to have a competition, like have it where like it's all these different things, right?
Yeah. Everybody gets a seat at the table.
Right. Or like change up the formula, right? Where it's not like a RuPaul's Drag Race formula. Or why do we even need a competition, right? Can we just have shows that happen to have drag characters?
Yeah.
And that's the world that we're in, right? So those are the things that I kind of want to see more of in my own art.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would love that. Just a big drag cabaret.
Right. Yeah.
Like, show off everyone's abilities.
Those are my favorite type of shows. The variety, like drag burlesque. I think I saw Magic here once, all in one show. I love that shit.
Oh, what was it? Yeah, like, and those communities like drag burlesque and the magic community, we are all becoming so much more closely knit because let's face it, we're all doing the same thing.
Yeah, sideshow, all of that. Yeah, circus.
Your stepsister Via Pola just popped in, Estee Lauderdale.
Hey.
She says you look so handsome tonight.
Oh my god, thank you. Pola straight up just adopted me at camp.
She told us.
Yeah. There's been a few that have tried, but they've never been able to claim me the way Pola has.
I love that. One of our incredible local kings was saying he agrees on your thoughts on that, on the competition aspect.
Thanks.
That's one thing I've been noticing around here. There's a lot of competition shows. Mm-hmm. It's becoming more and more of a thing, which, you know, there's a lot to be said for going into a competition. Personally, I don't like competing, mostly because I'm lazy and I don't want the stress. But like, I think competition shows are also getting more and more prevalent because of shows like RuPaul's Drag Race, where everyone's competing against each other. You put that in the local level, all of a sudden, here's a bunch of people competing, which means you don't have to pay any of them.
It's funny you say that. So Irene Dubois, right? Mm-hmm. Local queen here, won a competition here called So You Think You Can Drag.
Ooh.
She won like $5,000. And this weird thing happens in your scene is that someone has a success, right? We all watched it. We all saw it happen and go, wow, this is amazing. And then this weird thing happens where then the person's either put on this really intense pedestal or now she's a bitch. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Now she's just a bitch. And so what I loved about Irene in our community is that she was like, okay, cool. I guess I'm a bitch then. You have dubbed me the bitch. So great. I will play this part. And it's kind of funny now where you have these same people that were like, you were a bitch. Now, even though she went home first on night, having people being like, oh my God, Irene, I knew you were amazing. Oh my God, we're friends. And so it's this funny thing of like success and competitions and the levels and all that kind of stuff. And so I just feel that like, especially in like our own communities, it gets this dirty, like it kind of has this like film over, you know, like, oh, these are the top, you know, people, performers, girls usually of the city, and like these ones. And so it's just kind of funny. I don't know.
Yeah. There's like a weird pecking order wherever you go.
Right.
We're all doing the same art though.
Right. I'm like, we're all lip syncing to other people's music. We all could do copyright infringement, like if we weren't under parody. So like, calm down, relax.
I had that conversation recently. Someone was asking, do you get all the copyright information for all of your numbers? And I'm like, instantly my body went, why? Who's coming for me? What? And then I was like, no, technically I'm parody. So,
right. Yeah.
So I want to ask you your opinion on something. I think it was last year, we dedicated an entire month to drag kings. And at the end of that month, myself and my co-hosts at the time, we all decided to switch from girl drag to king drag. And I found the picture of me from that.
Oh my God.
And I would like you to critique my look.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Here he is.
That's amazing, actually. That paint is amazing. You're giving me like Adam Lambert, Land Insider's like baby.
That's what I was going for. I was like, Land Insider if he was a puppy instead of like Pup Daddy.
You're giving me like what the kid from the Munsters with Eddie, but like grown up. Like,
oh my God.
But like he's dancing on the bar top, go-go dancer boy.
Right. This is where his career is now.
So I would say I can never do those fucking lines, so I don't do them. And you did them so well. Those like, those cut-in lines on the forehead. I can't fucking do that. I call it the honeycomb because usually when I see it done on kings, they don't blend out and it looks like a honeycomb, and then I laugh. But I can't even do it, so
I can't unsee that now.
Yeah, it's a honeycomb.
Let me tell you what I'm never doing again. Painting on chest hair.
I have a lace chest front piece that I use.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I've been following a king on Instagram. And of course, right now I'm blanking on his name. But just like the amount of chest wigs he has is ridiculous. Because everything he does is just he's an older performer, but yeah, he'll do like Viking and come out in armor, just like burly hairy chest every time, but hairy to the point of like that needs to be reined in a little bit. Like Sasquatch is happening a bit, but it's so wrong that it's right.
I love that. That's what I love about kings is that like, oh, okay, we can take men and just really make fun of that, like really make fun of it.
Yes.
I feel like we don't make fun of men enough in society from like different lenses. I feel like there's all this comedy of men being like, oh yeah, men how we see ourselves being funny. But when you're from an outside kind of community coming into masculinity, traditional heterosexual cis male masculinity, it's really fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just blowing it up. Yeah.
That's awesome. So everybody out there, feel free to ask questions. I'm keeping up with the chat right now. I think I missed one, and I don't know where it was. Davina Rain is watching this evening, saying I look beautiful and Vincent looks handsome. You are correct.
Yes. Proper assessment.
Exactly. Well done. Orion Angel has a statement here. Vincent, thank you so much for being an inspiration and a voice to kings. I was watching Camp Wannakiki while preparing for my last pageant, and I actually won a title. So thank you for, in a roundabout way, inspiring me to do it.
Hell yeah. Yeah,
that's awesome. And Daniel Jackson has a question here. How do you attach the lace chest hair so it doesn't fall off? And then how do you remove it when ready?
Spirit gum. Spirit gum is the best thing. But the thing with spirit gum is that you want to make sure it's tacky. So you want to put it on and then kind of like I usually fan it for maybe 10 or 15 seconds. And then I do this so it's nice and sticky. And then I'll slowly put that on. And then the edges I'll put a little bit more. And then to take it off, usually I'm so sweaty by the end, it kind of started to just come off anyway. But you can use coconut oil. I don't usually use the spirit gum remover, so I'll use like something else, and then I'll just slowly kind of just take it off. Yeah.
I love
or toupee tape also works. If you don't like spirit gum, you can use toupee tape. Yeah.
Aw, Grandma Phyllis says, hi, all.
Yes.
We have a great question here, and This is your mother being a shit stirrer.
Of course she is.
From Pola Frost, F, Mary, kill, Ruthie, Betty, or Cherry?
I have to marry Ruthie. I would then F Cherry and then I guess kill Betty. I guess that would make that's how that would go. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that.
That works. That tracks.
Like, you're never coming back for All Stars.
Orion has another question here. What would you say was the most defining moment of your career? I'll let you answer first, and then I can answer.
I don't know. I would say probably my defining moment was when I got to work on the Mean Gays tour with Peaches Christ, Laganja, Willem, and Kim Chi, and then some of the local queens here like Betty Wetter and Visage LaRue, because it was something that I hadn't done before. I hadn't gone on a tour, and especially with people that I looked up to, especially like in the community and also like these, massive queens, literally, because I'm so short. So that I think was probably like that kind of point where I went, oh, okay. All right, I'm doing what I think, like, this is my path. Like, yeah, I'm going to keep doing this. Yeah.
Nice. For me, it's something that I've been thinking about a lot lately. Like last weekend, it was inspiring to watch Amethyst competing for Miss Gay America. At the same time, I was gearing up for auditions for the New Jersey Renaissance Fair. And because I can actually talk about it now, I have stepped into a position as basically the lead director for this year. The artistic director is above me, and then decisions go through me, which is kind of wild. But for many years, I have been fighting to have a drag character at a Ren Fair, and other fairs have done it before. And I've been, it's been something I've been passionate about, God, since the late 90s, since I started doing Ren Fairs. And I finally got Lady Viola to be at the New Jersey Ren Fair last year. And as of now, she is making her reappearance in New Jersey this year with a completely new gown. And that's kind of me merging my worlds together and kind of like, the current theory on where the term drag came from is, dressed as girl in Shakespeare's notes. So it's nice to kind of tie that together. I am working on my one-woman show. I don't know if it's going to be ready for Jersey this year, but I'm going to keep working on it. So yeah, that's kind of been a defining factor for me.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it. Ephraim has a fantastic, it's not really a question, but a good statement. It's so sad that many kings don't get the exposure, casting, etc. that queens do. There are some very amazing kings out there. I'm going to turn that into a question. Who are two kings we should definitely be watching for?
Ooh. I'm going to go off of my own community here. Hi, Dido. Let's see. So trying to think of all the kings and who's doing random whatever stuff. So there is so Sid Seedy, who's here. He is amazing. So him and his boyfriend I used to go by Cesare, but now his name's Chess Albanese. But he both of them are just stupidly talented, like on their own and then together as a unit. But like they do opera and they can paint really well. And like we have kind of similar drags in like this kind of old romanticized style. And so like that is, yeah, Sid Seedy is one that could really like bust open some doors, I think, for sure.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is not the first time I've heard the name Sid Seedy, and I'm trying to remember. Somebody else gave him definitely a big shout out before. Yeah. So I'm going to have to, I think I follow him on Instagram.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
A question from Ephraim. I've always been curious, what is the appropriate dong size to give that king the right amount of bulge without it looking full Monty bulky?
This is a great question.
There was a lot of word salad in that.
No, bing, I got it. Basically, you have to. So when I think about my different packers, right? Because I have multiple. That's what makes me better than cis men. Is I've got dicks for any type of occasion. What do you want? You want a little dick? Today, right? Like, come on down, market of dicks. Like that's like, and so for me, it's like, what am I doing, right? What's the part? What is the part, right? Is it a thing where we are focusing on the phallus? That's going to be actually my new memoir, focusing on the phallus. And then, so like, how do you have to move? Is it going to come out? Like, are you making a joke with it? And also, how tall are you, right? If you're someone who's 5 foot, you should not be having a massive packer if that's not what you're trying to show off, right? Like, so like that's something that I would recommend. And also, I would also say, just to tack on to that, if you're going to go ahead and get a packer, spend the money on a good one. Spend the money. Don't buy that really weirdly soft, goes nowhere. And also get the right type of packing underwear. Bullet briefs on Etsy, they're my absolute favorite because they have a little pouch and stuff and a little hole that basically secures everything. So great. And then that way, what happens when you have the proper underwear too is that it's not going to just, hello, full mast, how are we? Woohoo! It's not going to do that. So those are my recommendations.
That I learned a lot just now.
Teaching the children.
Exactly. We're getting a lot of really good questions here too. Oh my God, this is so good. I've got 9 questions ready to go. Vincent Rasco would like to know, hello there, love the live. Do you both have a YouTube page? Would love to see your performances. My YouTube is Jade DeVere. That's DeVere with a big D and a big V. That's exactly what it sounds like. But yeah, it's the same channel you will find this show on. We are live every other Wednesday.
Yes. Like technically, yes. But I am really bad about posting content. That's my New Year's resolution this year is to actually make more online content. But you can find stuff, like usually if you just type my name in and just go Vincent Milay drag, you'll usually find like videos and stuff. Yeah, I don't have much. I don't have much actually online, to be honest. Yeah.
You've got enough. Like
a little bit. I need to get more. Yeah.
Vicky would like to know, what goals have you set for yourself in the 2023 year?
Yeah.
Create more content.
More content. So this is kind of like a personal goal, but I have a tendency to fall in love with the wrong women. And so this year I've decided that I'm not going to do that. So that's one of my big resolutions. And the other one is, yes, more content.
Nice. I'm kind of in the same boat, honestly. Yeah. Like, I'm happily married. I'm not looking for extracurriculars, but like, I like getting more content out there. I want to post videos of me doing new numbers. Like, I've got a lot of outfits that are like, I need to start using this stuff.
Yeah.
Friends of mine were in town this past week and they got to see the drag room and they were like, oh, we were not ready for all of this. And I'm like, yeah, it's a sickness.
Yeah, mine is actually a sickness. It looks like something exploded in there. I need to fix that.
Right.
It's bad.
Paula's got another question.
Paula!
As of course she does. Paula would like to know, who had the best nipples at camp and why was it Opal?
So Opal, okay, fast. Okay. Opal never had a shirt on. Never ever had a shirt on, which is fine. And the other funny thing was like, never had a shirt on. Also, would we use bug spray? And the mosquitoes are like, hey, baby, hey. But yes, I would say yes. Of course it was Opal because never a shirt. Never a shirt or even dress. Nipples coming out of that dress. Oh my God, I love her.
Essay responded to that as well. It was Ranger Danger.
It was Ranger Danger. I actually messaged it or like commented on one of his posts where he was talking about stuff, and I was just like, I just want to let you know, there's times where I just feel like I need a cuddle, and I just put on your adult content, and I watch that because, you know, you want some sweet, genuinely sweet adult content. Ranger Danger, 100%. Honestly, if you're like, oh, that's how a cis male should actually treat. Oh, look at that. That's nice. Yeah.
I'm intrigued by this.
Yes, Ranger Danger. I was like, oh, because usually when you hear, that someone's someone who makes the adult videos, you think of them in a certain way, and he is not that at all.
Aw.
He's a sweetheart. He really is.
Yeah, I'm trying to wrap my head around that, honestly. Like, because usually it's like, hi, this thing needs help.
Right. Because again, I think people have to remember too that like we're all playing characters.
There's
like
that.
we're all characters. Yeah.
Estee just said I can use her login. He's amazing. Thank you. Eve Brown, the incredible hiding in plain sight. A trans privilege is being able to take your packer off or change size. Important point when choosing a packer, don't choose super long with shorts, as it is really awkward if it slips in the undies. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You gotta secure them in. You gotta strap them in for the ride. You gotta think about that, right?
I remember years ago, we were doing a Christmas show and we were just like, this is a kickoff to the holidays. And a couple of our local kings were like, I want to be funny. People don't think kings are funny. I want to do something funny. The amount of ridiculously long, like foot-long dildos in that show was incredible. I was like, because one of them performed very much like very handsome. He's a smaller framed guy, but that dick hit his knee in the pants and there was no hiding it. I was like, this is incredible. These are boys playing with themselves.
Yeah. I have a number where I like rip it off and then I throw it on stage. Like at the very end, it just goes and everyone's like, yeah.
That's amazing.
I love that.
Ephraim would like to know, are there any titles out there you want to capture?
Ooh. I don't know. I would say in terms of drag, I don't know what there is, to be honest. But I would say as an actor, like I am really going the full theater route. One day I want a Tony. Like, let's go. I feel like that's something I could do. So like, I'm only 34, so I feel like there's a lot of time for that to happen.
Yeah. Well, and everyone's talking about how like Jinx is being so cutting edge right now, but you forget Peppermint is the first trans woman to originate a trans role on Broadway.
Yeah.
Not even a trans role, just the first trans woman to originate a role on Broadway.
Yeah.
For Head Over Heels. So the what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say the diversity is out there, but the seeds are being sown.
Well, yeah. So like the musical that I'm working on right now, Misstep, it's like a celebration of queer and trans joy. Mm-hmm. And like, it was really weird. Like the first, couple days of rehearsal, I'm like kind of struggling with the character, because he's this like misanthrope, but he's also kind of misogynistic, but he's also a trans guy. And I'm like, how do I navigate all of that? And so I'm talking to my director and he's like, oh yeah, we're just living in a world where being trans, it's not an issue. It's not a political issue. It's just, yeah, people are trans and it's a musical and it's all about like the funny little nuances and stuff of being trans and all these little inside jokes. And it's pretty fun. And I'm hoping that even if I'm not a part of the project, like in the future, that it is something that goes longer, because I think it's important that those happy, stupid stories that just happen to have trans people in them exist. Like that's the world that I want to live in,
It's reminded, the more you describe it, it's reminding me of a musical I heard about in like the late 90s, early 2000s called Xana Don't.
Yes, yeah.
You know Xana Don't?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
for anyone watching who don't know, Xanadont is basically like in a world where being straight is the taboo thing and being queer is just, everybody is.
Yeah.
It's like now, everybody's gay. We just don't talk about it.
Yeah. Just flipping everything on its head. Yeah.
Exactly. Daniel would like to know, what originally got you interested in becoming a drag king?
Yeah. So funny enough, we talk about theater. Before I transitioned, I wasn't getting roles because I wasn't feminine enough, or I was doing Shakespeare, Spear Carrier #3, that kind of stuff. But I wasn't getting like what I wanted to do. And I started seeing the burlesque community kind of give these characters as they were doing stuff. And there was this really amazing performer who I saw, who has now since passed away. But I remember just seeing them and being like, wow, this is so different and cool. And you're taking theater and sideshow and burlesque and you're putting it all together. And her name was Betty Rage, and she would like do these crazy sideshow acts before it became kind of a thing that now drag queens kind of do, like the stapling the money and all this. And I remember just being like entranced by her and was like, this is really cool. And the first number I ever did was a Spike act, like Spike from Buffy. And I was like, oh, I really enjoy this. This is cool. There's something here. I'm going to play with these characters in that aspect. And then it wasn't really until then that I really realized like, oh, there's drag kings who kind of just do this. And that's kind of what kind of pushed me on down the river, as you will, into it. Yeah.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
Orion would like to know, where is your favorite place to get your costumes from?
Probably Amazon or the thrift store. Those are my two things. If I can't find it at a thrift store, I'll get it somewhere else, or I'll pay one of my amazing friends to help me create something. Y'all, my children are losing their shit. This is the time where they lose their fucking absolute mind. Anyway.
Can you tell everybody about the cats that are running around?
Yeah, so I'm a crazy cat dad. I used to be a vet tech in a former life at one point, and so I have 5 cats. And normally they just sleep all day, but there's this 1 hour where they just freak out and everybody runs around. So yeah.
Same in my house. We don't have any pets. It's just me and my husband.
Just running around. You're like, I pooped. You run out of the bathroom. Like, oh.
Look what I did. I don't get enough sleep. Estee would like to know, Stepbro, what do you look for in music for your numbers? Male vocal songs tend to be a lot less dramatic than female, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. So for me, it's a couple things. One, I like to do older songs. I also like to sing live. And then when I'm making a track, usually I'll mix stuff or like layer things on top of each other. I love a remix. I love like just pushing them into each other, having a spoken word moment where I've recorded it, right? Or like or mixing all of that together. So like I did one number where I did Creep, and at the beginning of it, the whole premise was like, being like, this is what it feels like to be a performer once you get off stage, right? You're like, yes, it's amazing. And then when you kind of go into yourself and you have all those horrible thoughts and the bad things you say about yourself and all of that. And that was all spoken word. And then it goes into a live version so I can sing Creep. So for me, I like to do that so it's dynamic and it feels like I like all of my pieces to feel like they're little mini theater moments. So like for 5 to maybe 7 minutes, because people don't have attention span, I do that. And that usually tends to just be like, whoa. And it becomes this whole moment is what I try to do.
Well, I think that's the most compelling drag. It's all about the storytelling.
Yeah. Right.
Even if you're a comedy performer, if you're not telling a story, like you'll lose the audience.
Mm-hmm. And you have to be big enough. You have to be big enough too. Yeah.
Yep. The first number I ever performed in drag was Somebody to Love by Queen, a female cover of it. And the show that night, the theme of the show was Walk of Shame.
Mm.
So I looked like, my thought was, I'm a nerdy girl who just slept with a jock and now he's denying it. So literally I had like tears rolling down my cheeks and I'm just performing the hell out of the song. Which I'm performing again in the next few months because there's something fun coming to Divas Down Under.
Ooh.
And that's all I'm going to say about that.
Ooh, shameless promotions.
This is a good question from Orion Angel. What was your favorite moment from camp that was not on the final show? Opal's nipples.
Opal's nipples. So for me personally, we did for the barnyard. Me, Opal, and Pola all were pigs, but we were all different pigs. And my pig was a Trump MAGA pig. So my pig had a hat that said "Make Bacon Whatever Great Again," and I bedazzled it. And I had like a crop top American shirt with my belly hanging out. And then as I'm doing my voiceover, and I'm covered head to toe in pink, like I look like a pig, pink, right? I then go into my pants, and I had candy melted in there, like chocolate, and I like ate my own shit.
Oh.
That was my favorite moment that never made it to air. And if I had just gone one more episode, everyone could have seen it. Ruthie literally was like, oh, that's amazing. Oh, it was so good.
Oh God. That reminded, years ago, we used to have a pageant here in Harrisburg called the State Street Pageant, where it was all based on who was the most disgusting piece of work in Harrisburg. I won in 2017. I was also supposed to MC in 2017 and no one showed up, so I MC'd and competed. And literally everything I had just happened to be stuff that was in my suitcase and my husband's clothes.
I love a good improv drag. I love that.
Right? One of the girls the year before who won, Belladonna, did a number as like a perfect little 1950s housewife. Husband came home. She was very dutiful. And then they had a glass table that she shit on. And they both ate. Now, it was pudding, but it was still disgusting.
Yeah, mine was pudding mixed with like I think I had Reese's in there. And so it looked like chunks. Yeah.
Oh. Nope. Where's our next question? We got to get off this topic.
So good.
This is a good one. If you could change one thing about the drag community, what would it be and why?
The constant need to bring other people down and compete against them in your own community. Like that is the one thing that I really wish changed. That's the big one. Yeah.
I feel that would be my answer too. I recently found out a friend was, basically putting me down and in front of people who are my friends. And this person didn't realize they were my friends. And I'm now aware. And I'm like, I had your back. I called you a friend. And now I don't know if I can trust this person, which sucks.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, usually we do this at the end of the episode. But my husband, who is a show director, always has a helpful drag tip. And this week, his helpful drag tip is be careful running your mouth in dressing rooms because you never know who knows whom. It's that. The dressing room game at a drag show is a whole other thing for newer performers to kind of realize. A friend of mine realized that a long time ago. Super talented, but tended to run her mouth a bit and became a bit unpopular. She's learned from that and is now she's one of the most sickening performers I know. But, it took her a little while to realize it's not just you on stage, but it's you backstage as well.
I think people just need to realize you're at a job. Treat it like a job. Like you're lucky that you have a job where, yes, you can have maybe a beverage. But to that point, if you're a person that you have a couple beverages and then you spill a couple secrets or your perceived idea of something, it's not, because I'm the person, and I know a couple other people who'd be like, oh my God, why don't you go ahead and tell me about that? because we're filing it away. You know what I mean? So like, no. If you want to go have a private conversation with me somewhere, like we can go do that. But like, we're not having it in the dressing room. Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That. Where did I put the questions? There they are. What is your favorite musical and play?
Ooh.
From one of our theater geeks in the audience tonight.
So the one musical that's always going to live in my heart because we did it twice in high school was Les Miserables. That is my like all-time favorite, you know, and I can't wait for hopefully in the future to be able to like get to be me now and be in that musical. That would be really, really fun. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And for sure.
I've been looking at shows that I haven't looked at in a long time. And for me, like theater in general, I'm now thinking of myself behind the scenes directing a lot more. My bucket list show to direct is and will always be Godspell. Because it's such a good show. It's such a good moral play. And it's fun and it's frivolous. And I want to try my hand. That was the first professional show I ever did when I was like 10. And I want to take what I know now and translate that into the show Godspell.
I got to work spot up at my conservatory on that show because, and it was so good. Yeah, it's such a good show because I think because they had all of these ladders and scaffolding and stuff that they were using for it, and at the end they had him basically go up on this like it was like a Stairway to Heaven ladder, but it went like all the way up into the rafters.
Oh wow!
And, like it was like his last note spot on him, and then right here. It was just so good, and like that song where she's like pebble and like I'll walk with a pebble in my shoe. Mm-hmm. Yeah. People are always like, Jesus Christ Superstar. And I'm like, no, Godspell.
Yeah. Yes. I fell down a rabbit hole a while ago of watching the arena tour of Superstar, which was just incredible. If you haven't seen it, go and look at it. Because that was amazing. When I did Godspell, it was at a playground at an elementary school. So we were performing at a playground. And at the very end, people are like, the audience was there and people like a police car with people with torches came down. It was terrifying. But yeah, it was, if I did it again, my theory for the show is it's backstage at a theater and it's a bunch of people getting ready for different shows. And the set is all like makeup mirrors that move around.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Yeah. It's funny you were talking about the playground. In Portland, we did a Hamlet, but it was in the cemetery.
Oh,
and we had a real human skull for York from the And I remember just sitting there, like it's like 8 p.m. and I'm sitting because I was one of the gravediggers, and I'm looking at the skull, being like, well, this is fucking meta. So I would say for a play, I really want to be Hamlet, and I want to do that soon. Because I'm getting older, but I really want to play that role. Yeah. Yeah.
We played the same part because I was one of the gravediggers in that show too.
Look at that. Yeah, I played a few different roles. Yeah.
Same. Yeah. I did that show working for can't talk about half of that. Anyway, so the cast that originally did that show, 4 of the actors had to withdraw. So it was 3 men and a woman who had to withdraw from the show. And when the show resumed, there were 4 homosexuals who took their spots. I was the woman, but all of her parts were typically men's parts. So I was the gayest Osric you ever saw.
Love that.
And I was told, camp it up, go for it. Literally all of my lines, I would say something and then I'd be on my phone again because it was set very modern.
What I love about Shakespeare is that what people really need to realize is Shakespeare is meant for the people. It's dick jokes, it's gay jokes, it's coded jokes.
Yes.
Like that's actually the brilliance of Shakespeare. It's honestly, I think some of the most queer things, especially when you get down to his sonnets. Like Shakespeare was a bisexual. Like he, you know, like he wasn't straight, and like and everyone's gonna like die on a hill, and I'm like, girl, those sonnets are not straight.
Yeah, read the work. Even my drag name DeVere is from Edward DeVere, who supposedly wrote everything.
Yeah,
I've read his poetry. He didn't write shit. His stuff is awful, but okay, it's not that bad, but it's not Shakespeare. But yeah, like Shakespeare's stuff was very. When I worked for that company, Alan Cohen, who was one of the directors of I think the Old Vic Theater, he was just like, stop looking at subtext, stop subtext. His audiences were dumb. Also, his actors were dumb. Every time I say I shall exit, that's because you don't remember your cue. So we have to tell you you're going to exit, so you actually leave the stage. Like,
yeah. And it's funny because if you look at any real modern staging now, it's all coming off of Shakespeare, and because he kind of set this standard. And that's the other thing that I personally want to, like, I'm writing some stuff right now, and I'm really thinking about how can we really use the space. And that's how I feel about drag in general. When I do my drag, is I don't like it to just be like a thrust stage. I want to be like we're a community. I want to be in it. And so for me, I think about maybe how those shows actually were. Like, there were people up to the stage.
Yeah.
Who were yelling at you. If they didn't like what you were doing, you were literally getting pelted with shit and tomatoes and whatever was around. So like, I love that idea. And that's what I think I love about drag, is it kind of gets you back into almost that Shakespearean, like, we don't have a lot of lighting, right? Maybe your track's going to start at the wrong time. Jump on in, right? Get your audience back, work for it. And I think there's a real correlation between the two.
If I ever ran a competition show, like, I feel bad for anyone who competes for it, because it would be those things. Hi, submit your music, but we're going to need all of your music on CD this week. The next week, hey, we got your music. You're going to go out and play, but we've scratched all of your CDs. Like, hey, I forgot to bring the music. Here's one CD of songs. You all have to pick a number from it. Like, that's the stuff I want to do, because I think that's what prepares younger performers to just be ready.
Just be ready. Shows that I really want to do. I really want to do a show. I guess this is me actually publicly saying it, but I really want to do a show called Problematic. That's literally just songs that we're not supposed to like anymore because the artist or is like a bad person. So like, like I Believe I Can Fly, and like all, like the Tattoo song, because they're not actually lesbians, right? Like all of these songs that are kind of like Flyleaf, all of these really like kind of problematic songs. Like I really want to do a show that's like, all right, we're going to lean into making fun of like problematic people and why, and like really blow it up and make it like a farce is something that I want to do.
That's fun. I love that.
Yeah.
Trixie Valentine popped in tonight. What has been the most rewarding part of doing drag?
I think the most rewarding part for me was Flapjack from the season got a really beautiful message. And in that message was someone basically saying that, they were, kind of like afraid of their status, or to be out, or, to feel like there was someone that represented them. And, I've had a few people now. I've had, a couple of like younger trans men reach out and were like, I was gonna, not be alive anymore. And I saw you and I feel very inspired. And like that kind of stuff just really hits you, because you start to realize like, oh yeah, I'm being silly and frivolous and whatever, but there is this underlying message, and people that need to hear it, right? Mm-hmm. And then in turn, that kind of helps you to keep striving forward when you get into those moments. And so I think that's really beautiful, is to kind of like, it's almost like I'm teaching them, but then they teach me, and then we keep marching forward together. And I think that that's something that's really beautiful for me, about drag.
That was me today. I was spiraling. Like, a lot of things happened in the last few days that have really just taken it out of me. Like, I was so happy when you and I, like, we've been on since about 7 o'clock Eastern, and this has been what I needed today.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That
And
human connection. Yeah.
Yeah. We just met, and I already feel like, oh yeah, we're gonna be friends after this because this is a lot of fun.
Yep. Yep.
We got 12 more questions. 13 more questions.
Yeah.
Questions are flying in.
I love questions.
14 more questions. Keep them coming. Ephraim would like to know, what would kings want venue owners and show promoters to know to help bring more kings into the shows? I love this question.
Like, I want show promoters to know that kings are, sorry, my cats, that they're just as dynamic, or that we can be just as dynamic. And even if it's someone who's newer, to treat them just like you would a newer baby queen, right? Like, because when everybody starts, like my cats, it's a little rough, right? Everybody starts a little janky and crunchy and rough. Y'all, they're literally fighting on the floor. Hey,
that's amazing.
Pontificating. So that's something that I would want venue owners to know, is that like we're just like the queens, but the masculine version. That's it. It's very basic.
Well, and I think that's I like that you pointed out reaching out to the kings and helping. Like we talked about it earlier, most of my drag children started off as kings. Most don't identify that way in their drag anymore, but like especially with legs, their drag at first, like they were a king, but they were told you have to be butch, you have to be manly, you have to be, and they were like, I'm gonna be queer as hell and you're gonna enjoy it. I'm gonna be Bowie, I'm gonna be flamboyant. And that's how they like made their mark. Like you gotta find that thing that elevates what you do and makes you stand out.
Yeah.
Sorry, I hopped on a soapbox for a hot second.
No, we love that. We love a good.
I don't regret shit.
It's your show.
Orion just said something here. Don't judge kings the same way you judge queens. Do you agree with that?
I mean, because here's my thing. So this is something that I've been very public about, is that this is why I feel like kings need their own RuPaul's Drag Race, is because it's different. It's just the criteria is just different. Because with kingery, I feel that you can be a little bit more toned down, because there are, people will say all the time, people said to me all the time, people that I was working with in shows, you're pedestrian. Now, the thing that I feel like people don't realize is that masculinity is kind of boring. Like traditional males, essentially now as they are, if you go into a Target, you see, what is it? Dark green, gray, black, maybe a beige, but it's boring. It's boring. Men don't dress to impress anymore. It's boring. And so with kings, it's like we're trying to add that, but not everybody is like this. Not everybody's flamboyant. Even with me, I don't feel like my makeup in and of itself is, extra gay, crazy, you know what I mean? And so I feel like people have gotten so used to seeing a drag queen who typically is a 6 foot or more tall woman. Then you add heels and there's pads and sequins and all of this stuff. And so it's very hard for someone who's 5'6" and below, usually as a drag king, to kind of compete with that. It's just a whole different vibe. And I feel like a lot of kings are pressured into putting sparkles and sequins on everything and becoming a certain type of way, because they feel like they're not going to get booked if they do it how they want to do it, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like there kind of needs to be a little bit of a separation. If you're going to do a competition, I feel like there does need to be a little bit of a separation, unless you're Clinica, and then everything goes out the window.
Yeah, and they can do anything they want, and they're amazing.
They literally can do anything. I love them so much. Oh my God.
I am so glad I follow them on Facebook, and then I'm Facebook friends with them, because they are so fun to watch and so visually appealing.
They're coming to visit me in a couple weeks, and we haven't seen each other since filming. I haven't seen anybody since filming.
Aw.
And I am so stupidly excited to see them.
My husband just commented, Vincent is giving me sexy LeFou meets What We Do in the Shadows.
That's funny you just said LeFou because I just directed Kids and Beauty and the Beast, so that's really funny to me. Yes, this is actually a Gaston wig from Amazon.
Oh, it's so good.
It's totally Gaston. Oh, baby. Ooh, ooh. It falls off. Y'all are killing me right now. Y'all.
Chase has a question. He says, sorry, I'm a little late to the party. So sorry if this is a repeat. It's actually not a repeat. Do you date other drag kings or not? And do you run for any pageants?
So I did do after Camp Wannakiki here. I did So You Think You Can Drag 3, and I made top 4, so the final 4 of that. And had a mental breakdown on stage, but it's fine. I just spoke the truth. It was one of those moments. I like transparency. So I'm not going to do anymore. I'm done. No more pageants or competitions for me. I would totally come back to Camp Wannakiki if they had some sort of all-star situation. We keep joking they need to do an all-star season in the winter because I think that'd be hysterical. That's my dream, and I would do that. And in terms of dating other drag performers, my ex did drag queenery a little bit, but I haven't dated any other drag kings. But I'm open.
Nice. My husband has done drag a couple times, and held a drag title as a mister at one point. And we joke that it was one of the hardest years of our marriage because we were both in that spotlight so much, and we were just like, let's not do that again.
Competitions are rough. They are rough. And like with Camp Wannakiki, you know, I didn't have a lot of money. So for me, I had 2 suitcases and a backpack, and then I sent 1 box with my shoes in it. And I was so neurotic at the FedEx, being like, you have to make sure it gets to this children's summer camp. It is very important. And I'm like,
I don't like me right now.
I did not like me. I did not like me.
That's how I am with competition. I'm such a perfectionist that I'm like,
yeah, I do better in a collaborative theater space. That's where I'm less of a dick.
Valid. Vincent Rasco would like to know, question for you both. Who were your biggest influences in the drag community?
Yeah. I would say probably the first drag queen I can remember seeing was stand-up of Coco Peru. Like it was like on Comedy Central or something like that as a kid, and it felt like so taboo, like to see her. And I've just been obsessed with like her entire career, her as a person, everything she does. I love Coco Peru. And then also Divine, who didn't love Divine? And then Peaches. So Peaches Christ. So finally getting to work with her was just meltdown. Yeah, those are my big influences there.
Nice. When I was young, like RuPaul was obviously the first big like drag queen that was in the public eye. But since then, like watching Tu Wong Fu, I was like, oh, that looks fun. Lots of movies that have not aged well, and then like in my community here, there were a lot of really good drag performers when I started. Michelle Lee Sterling, Aurora Sterling, Ashley Lynn, Poison, Amethyst, who like I've been a fan of, and the fact in the last couple of years we've become so close, and is now like my drag bestie, which is awesome. So there are a lot of really good influences around. Sorry, I was looking at the messages for a hot second. 13 more questions.
Woo!
We're gonna get through these, kids. I promise.
I love it. I'm around.
Right? Hiding in plain sight would like to know. Chris Brown keeps telling me I need to do King Missile's detachable penis. what really bizarre song would you like to perform?
Oh my god. Ooh. That's great. I don't know. I've really been trying to learn. This is random, I guess. So yeah, I've been trying to learn all of the words to like the Eiffel Tower 65 mix of "You and Me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals, but we can do it." Like that song.
It's Bloodhound Gang.
Bloodhound Gang, yeah, that
Yep.
whatever the fuck, yeah, mammals or whatever the fuck it's called. I want to learn all the lyrics and do it live to the actual Eiffel Tower 65 mix. It's so difficult, and I want to do it, but I want there to be like choreography and everything. And once I get the breath support, that is a weird number that I would like to do. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've been on a rabbit hole of performing Weird Al songs. I want to find a female cover of "You Don't Love Me Anymore," which is so hard to find. Like the words have to be changed at one point. But like it's such a gut-wrenching song, and then you're like, oh, this is bad. Or there's an Adam Sandler song that is so disgusting and vile. It's called "At a Medium Pace." Google it at your own peril, because it is.
Yeah,
wow.
I know that song. Yep.
I want to do that.
Yep.
Daniel Jackson would like to know, do you do any celebrity impersonations? Watching this live, I could see you doing Wayne Newton, Adam Lambert, or Elvis.
Well, thank you very much. I don't really know if I have any celebrity impersonations. I feel like the only real impersonation I can do is just like a character, which would be like I can do like some of the South Park characters, or like Stewie from Family Guy. I love, yes, Brian, Lois, yeah, love that kind of stuff. Yeah, but I don't really do any like celebrity impersonations yet. Although I would love to do, if I ever did a Snatch game, I would love to do like Gordon Ramsay or Steve Irwin. I always had this idea, if I ever did Steve Irwin, I would want like a big inflatable like gator, or like multiple animals that I kept pulling out, and then finally like I would have this gator that I would pull out and jump over the fucking thing and be like, "Oh right, crikey, oh shit," and just like go for it. I think that would be really fun.
I love that.
If they ever let a king on Drag Race, even if I'll be okay to go home first if it's Drag Race. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's a tour at least.
Exactly. Well, like people are so gunning for a first out All-Stars.
Yeah.
Or an early out All-Stars.
Yeah.
I'm like, that would be fascinating to go from an early out to a winner.
I would love one where, if they're doing all these like ones in the RuPaul Megaverse, that I like to call it, it would be really fun if there was a competition where they brought people from other like Dragula and Camp Wannakiki and like the Down Under and like whomever into just one big thing. Would be really fun. Like people who didn't win, or fan favorites or whatever, and then have them do something like the challenge or something like weird like that. I think would be really fun. Yeah.
I would love to see something like that, but it would be like, oh God, what was it? On MTV back in the day, it was like the Real World Road Rules Challenge.
Yeah, so they still have it. It's called the Challenge.
It's called the Challenge now, but you're drag artists and you have to do that.
Right, and that's kind of what Camp Wannakiki like kind of is, but it's like you could really take it up a notch. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hayden would like to know, as someone who has struggled to find anyone interested in having me perform anywhere, I need to ask, what was the most significant steps you did you take to get into shows, as everybody seems to have full casts already?
This is when I would say, because usually I'm that performer that's like, if they're not paying you, don't do it. But if you're a new performer, I think there is, and this is for producers too, I think that there should be tip spots. I think there should be spots for someone who's like, I've never done this. I've never been in even a school play. I just want to be in this and see if I can do it. I think those are important little slots to have. And then it's like, yeah, you can perform for tips. This is our, like, you can slide on in and do 3 minutes moment. So I think that it is important, that you could reach out and be like, look, I can just perform for tips and 2 drink tickets, or just 1 drink, no drink tickets. It's fine. Just, can I be there? And I feel like some people really will take you up on that. Being a stage kitten is a big one that can really lead you into stuff, because sometimes I've seen stage kittens who were ready to just pick up money, and then someone couldn't show up. Their car broke down. They couldn't be there. Now there's a slot available. Right?
Yeah.
And you happen to already be in face.
Mm-hmm.
You have a track. Great. Let's load it up. So I've done that in my shows, and I've seen it in other shows. So I think that's something that's very, very much something you can do. And also, if you're like in a small town, if you're able to go up to a bar, even if you're like, you know what, no one's doing the type of art I want to do it. Go to bars. Ask them, can I have a Wednesday night, moment, whatever. And sometimes you'll go to these venues and they'll be like, yeah, we can have some stupid entertainment on a Wednesday because we're not making any money. So yeah, come on in. So those are things that you can do to help not only your community, but yourself and other people. Yeah.
Yeah. And Hayden, for you in particular, your wheelchair does take up space. That's not an excuse for venues to not have you. It's just it's a logic puzzle that people need to be prepared to do. And, like we were talking about a certain venue that only has stairs to get in, and you're like, I can't get in here. Yeah, like venues need to be more accommodating and need to figure it out. If you're on a historic register, find a way to be accessible.
Yep.
Simple as that.
Yep. Yeah,
I say simple as that, but most places don't want to put in that work, and they need to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you know what? Don't be afraid to be loud about it. That's the other thing, is that the thing that I've now noticed is that in order to be successful, there's going to be people that I'm going to have to piss off a little bit. So just saying that. Put that out there.
Ryan just said something, and it made me think, I want more university shows to be a space for new kings and queens to perform. Actually, Hayden, that is a perfect example. College shows. Look into like colleges and say, hey, I'm a drag artist. Here's the reality of me in my wheelchair, but I would still very much like to perform. Can I be involved? Simple as that. Yeah. And, I have a few college gigs this year. I'll see if I can do what I can to get you into some of those as well.
Yeah, and really reach out to other communities. I know there's lots of communities on Facebook that deal with, disability and wheelchairs and all that kind of stuff, that are performers that kind of band together and have those gigs. If you are able to travel, even just small amounts outside of your community even. But yeah, there's definitely, I know that there's one, I forget her name, but there's an amazing burlesque performer down in LA who is in a wheelchair, who is just phenomenal. So I would say, like, if you're not getting booked because of your wheelchair, then yeah, there's a lot that needs to be changed in that community for sure. Yeah.
I saw videos on TikTok recently of a drag queen. She only has one leg, so she performs in a wheelchair, but her name is Eileen Slightly.
I love a pun name.
I do too.
God, I sometimes wish I had a pun name, and I don't, but I love a pun.
Yeah, they're so good. Michelle would like to know, what advice would you give to someone starting out in the drag world? I mean, we covered a lot of that, but
I would say, like, not only like, the other thing is, like, I always say, like, with painting and stuff too, find someone who kind of has the aesthetic that you like and start to kind of shape yourself like that, because you're gonna keep evolving and finding, like, this is not the face I started with, right? So, like, continuing to kind of evolve that and really finding out, who your drag character, like, is. For me, like, I always say I am Vincent. Vincent is me, because I just wanted one name because I'm ADHD. So, like, I can't remember other names, but, like, try to really think, like, because when you're in drag, you get to be whatever you want. So what is that ideal version of you? Like, if you could be the ideal in the ideal world, who would you be? try to make that into your drag character, because you're going to be happy, and all the serotonin you get on stage when people then receive that, it feels really good, and then it helps like manifest to your rest of your life. You know what I mean? It's like a fun little like mental neurodivergent trick almost for me.
That's true though. Like for me, it's a little bit different because like I am very much a guy in my day-to-day life, but this is the heightened like cartoon that I always looked up to.
Right. Like if you could play any part in the show, what part would you want to be? Right.
Yep.
Yeah. For
Drag artists that are actors. I don't know what that's like. Keyframe would like to know, as for music, who are some of your favorite artists and go-to songs to perform to?
So it's now been lovingly referred to as dad music, but all of the music from like 90s, early 2000s, and also then probably like the 1930s to the 1950s. I have weird things. Like I either am gonna have music that's all about sex and you know, gross kind of stuff, or I want to be super classy. Like those are my two. That's it. There's no gray area. It's just nasty or classy. That's it.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm kind of the same way. You know, like I love a comedy number. I will perform comedy all day. Although lately I've been in a like more romantic numbers, not like not romanticized numbers. I should say it that way. Not love songs, but like beautiful songs.
Right.
Which I will usually screw up because of my facial reactions when I'm in drag. You know, beauty.
Soft. You want something soft and nice.
Soft,
and
delicate.
joyful.
Yeah. I just got really weird deja vu in that moment, by the way. Like, ooh, it just hit me. I was like, I've been here before. This is fun.
My friend who's a medium, she says that means you're on the right path if you get deja vu.
Oh, good. I hate that.
I
don't want that.
Means you're doing something good.
Here's a comment from Pola. Ask about coleslaw's impacted poo and its remedy. Why am I asking this?
So here's backstory. Camp Wannakiki doesn't have the best food because again, we are in the middle of nowhere at a school camp. So it's like sloppy Joe. We're in Wisconsin, so there's a lot of cheese, right? I did not eat any of that nasty ass food. I did not eat it. I don't care about the NDA. I did not eat it. I basically subsisted off of like oatmeal and bananas and apples and oranges, right? But I was chonky at the time, so it was probably good for me to start that diet. Anyway, so I believe that coleslaw ended up having like constipation at one point, and I think we were drunk because like after we would do talent shows, we would just get fucking plastered. And I think at one point we were yelling at her because it was like these little stall doors, and we were like, "Just use your finger like a hook. Just use your finger, you know, like." Because I was a vet tech, right? So that's something that I've had to do for patients. Is you know you go and you it's a manual. You take it out. And she was like, "No, I'm not doing that. No." And I think she took something, but I don't remember what it was. But yeah. Because we were there for like 2 weeks. So if your stuff gets backed up, it's not fun. And we're not healthy, right? We're not healthy in the woods. No one's being healthy in the woods.
Coleslaw, if you are watching this, I am so sorry that Pola outed you like that. My apologies.
There's also video that Clinica has of her at a show that they did together where I guess Coleslaw decided to go down a banister and then ended up with a massive splinter in her butt. And then there's video of them trying to take out this massive
I heard about that.
Yeah. So Coleslaw does it herself.
Coleslaw, we would like to apologize for every horrible thing that has happened to your butt in the last few years. I mean, I'm not responsible for any of it because we haven't met yet, but
I love Coleslaw. Oh my
Coleslaw
God.
was supposed to be on the show the one night, but I think she was moving at the time and she just got moved in and she was like, there's no way. I was like, girl, not the end of the world.
She is one of the most hardworking women in show business. She needs everyone to book her now. Fantastic. I feel like Coleslaw is one of those people where it's like, if you wanted to know what it was like to work with Divine, hire Coleslaw.
Oh.
To be honest. That's how I feel. Yeah.
I bet.
Yeah.
We technically have 5 minutes. We're probably going to go over tonight. Is that okay with you, Vincent?
I'm fine with that. Yeah. It's my day off, so I'm fine with it.
Oh, sweet. And it's early for you. Like you are 3 hours behind us.
It's only like 6:55 here, so we're good.
Nice. Because we have 8 questions left.
Let's do it.
And they're good ones.
Ooh, let's get into it.
From Vicky, from all the numbers you've done in your career, if you could only perform one, which one would it be and why?
Ooh. So the first one that comes to my head is, so I do this Charlie Chaplin number, but it's a Charlie Chaplin number and it's 2 songs mixed together. So it's like, I forget that band's name. It's some sort of Caravan, I forget their name, and then it's like the real Slim Shady on top of it, but it's like double time. So it's like, I'm Slim Shady, yes, I'm the real Shady, I'm the real. It's like super fast, and I like, it's like a full burlesque number. I like do the whole like hat, confetti moment. It's like a whole thing, and people just go nuts for it. So that's probably like my signature number. Yeah.
Awesome. Mine is Do Re Mi from The Sound of Music. I do a dance mix of it. And it's good for any show. Like adults love it. It's a good kid-friendly number. It's good for everybody.
Yeah, I love those. Yeah.
Hayden has another question here. You said you struggle with keeping steady posting of videos. Is there anything that makes it easier for you to post consistently, or things that make it harder for you to do it? I know for me, my complexion is my detractor. If I'm struggling with that, thanks testosterone. It is hard to feel ready to post videos.
Yeah. So for me, it's just I have a really crazy schedule in terms of theater, y'all. I swear. So, and these guys. Today is the day. I don't know why. And so, so for me, and then I really like to work with my friend here. His name's Thomas Mitchell. He's a fantastic videographer. All of the videos you find of me are like of him doing stuff. And so that's why I don't have a whole lot of content, because for me, I am quality over quantity. So if I'm going to post something, I want it to be a good representation of me, right? Because as drag, you are your brand, right? Marketing. And so I want to make sure that if I'm going to put something out there, it's worth my time to put it out there. I would also say, side note on testosterone, because you mentioned your complexion. One of my exes from a long time ago got me onto this. You want to get Paula's Choice, 2.5% benzoyl peroxide, and you want to cleanse and then use that on your face and then moisturize. Trust me, you will not have pimples. That is my unsolicited advice for you.
When it comes to this show, I can pre-program all of the ads for the show, which is what I usually do. I got all of Vincent's information a couple weeks ago. I programmed. You can only program a week ahead of time, which is why I always program the show Wednesday. But yeah, you can put up the ads, set them for a later date. I love that. Chase would like to know, what is the biggest crowd you've performed for, and what was the smallest?
I performed for about, I've done more now. In a theater, about 500, but I performed at like Pride shows, like Denver, which has been, more people. I have not performed at Seattle Pride, funny enough.
What?
Yeah, I've never performed on the main stage of Seattle Pride. Not once, not ever. I've lived here for this year 15 years. Never once, not ever. So yeah, I would say probably the most then was at that, whatever that Pride was. So maybe like, maybe 500-600 people within that was probably the biggest. Yeah.
Nice. I think the biggest indoor audience I've ever performed for is at Dickinson College. That's usually, that place is crazy. I think there's about 500 seats in their auditorium. Largest audience I've ever performed for out of drag was back when I did the Pennsylvania Renaissance Fair, and there were a few thousand people watching a joust.
Yeah.
Now that I look back on it, I was like, I stood in front of a few thousand people and sword fought and yelled stupid things at people. Huh.
I want to do that so bad. I've never been a performer at a Ren Fair, and I want to so bad.
A local drag performer around here, I posted the auditions for the Pennsylvania Fair. She was like, if only I could do an accent. I was like, girl, the training you're going to get at a Renaissance Fair is the most amazing experience you'll get. It's improv and interaction. I know a couple years ago, big theme parks were looking for Ren Fair performers. I actually worked at Hershey Park for 2 years. They saw Ren Fair on my resume and they were like, oh, this is the person we want because they know how to interact, which was great. It was a really fun gig. Got a little tiring at some points because we were doing a Halloween thing. So it was 13 hours of standing there, but the money was right. Vincent, have you ever considered performing or have performed at a show as a drag queen?
I have. In the competition that I did here. I did this whole number that started as a queen. And then I strip out into this Freddie Mercury "We Are the Champions" moment with a trans flag instead of the and that was my finale performance. So yeah, I have done that. Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Have I ever done a king number? I have. I performed King Midas by Army of Lovers. Have you ever heard of Army of Lovers?
Yeah.
They are, I forget what year it was, but I went down a rabbit hole of YouTube videos. I was like, oh, this is some of the gayest shit I've ever seen. I need to do all of that. That's Casper, right?
That's Casper, yeah.
Hello, Casper. Oh. Casey has a cool one here. Speaking to the point of influence that you have had on people, as a cis drag performer, I use my drag as a platform to increase awareness for the LGBTQ plus advocacy and mental health. Do you have a platform that has been created from doing drag to promote your advocacy?
Oh yeah. One of the things I said, like when I transitioned, was basically like, I already have the plan of like, I call it Trans Boy 101. So I am one of those people now. And I feel like at the beginning of my transition, I was like a little weird about it. But now I'm very much like, if someone wants to come up to me and go, can I ask you a personal question? I'd rather they ask me and I give them the correct information than them gets it like the wrong way. So I'm definitely someone who is like, yeah, being trans for me isn't political. It's just an endocrine disease, right? I didn't make the right hormone and now I take the right hormone. It's kind of like being diabetic, but for hormones. And that's how I think about it. And so for me, when I've talked to, like in the show that I was just directing with kids, I had a kid who, is young and prepubescent, who is like, I'm a guy, and his mom, found out that I was, and we started, chatting, and she was like, oh, wow, I've never thought about it like that. And I was like, yeah, it's not political. Just think of it like a medical condition. That's all it is. And I feel like by me being someone who's just so approachable and easy to talk to, my platform then is very much of coming out of it like with compassion that they're trying to learn. If they didn't want to come up to me and go, ooh, can I, right? I know some people feel like it's an attack, but I think if someone is taking the willingness to come up to you and be like, I know that this is kind of out of line, but may I think, I'm definitely someone who's like, yeah, go ahead and ask me, open book, let's go. So that's how I kind of see my advocacy kind of every day. Yeah.
I felt that at my old job. I was one of very few queer people working there. And, I would get a lot of questions, and it would always be prefaced with, I don't want to offend you. I was like, please ask me.
Yeah.
Please ask me your question. If it's offensive, I'll let you know it is, but you're not going to offend me by asking the question.
Right.
Um, that shows a willingness to learn.
Right. And the other thing that I noticed too, like with these kids, I was in a place that was very, I think it was kind of Republican red, you know what I mean? Even though I'm in Seattle, right? And so it was this thing of like, yeah, if I'm coming at people with this joy and this happiness and this love and funny, right? Because humor is what connects people. If you can find a sense of humor about it, I think people are a lot more willing to receive the information. And then they'll be like, yeah, he's a trans dude and
Yep.
it becomes a non-issue, just like how a lot of like gay stuff now is just kind of a non-issue, right? Yeah.
To quote the Kinsey Six, I believe Rachel said this, the king accepts critique better from the jester than the advisor.
Yep. It's why we like comedy, right? George Carlin, he was one of those
Yeah.
people, misanthrope, telling you how terrible society is, but he did it in a funny way, to which now he's dead and we're still quoting him, right? It's still applicable. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. We are almost done with the questions. This is amazing. Ephraim would like to know, are there settings you won't work in because of poor treatment, non-receptiveness, poor financial or social rewards, etc.?
Yeah, so like for me, just by the nature of who I am, I'm probably not going to work in a church. And I also refuse to work for venues where I know that there's been some sort of mistreatment by management in some way, whether that be not getting your money, sexually harassed, abused, whatever. I won't work in that venue. If there has been accounts and whatever, like I'm not going to go ahead and work there. That's
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I avoid smoking venues just because I don't smoke and I'm trying to get my singing voice back. Every once in a while, like if it is a smoking venue, I will ask for more money just because that's laundry I have to do. That's stuff I have to clean. That's a wig. That's a few wigs that I have to wash and restyle.
Yeah, that's not a problem here on the West Coast.
I bet. Yeah, we still have venues where you can smoke.
Wow. Even after COVID. That's so funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow.
The last question is for me, and it's a fun one. I'm ready for your Game of Thrones show on the 4th, Jade. Please say you're doing this was supposed to say shame number again.
Oh.
I did a number of Septa Unella. I am not doing that number this time. I have 2 new numbers. One has the same intro as another one, but I chose a better second number for it. But I will be Sansa and I will be Daenerys for that show.
I have a really good Jon Snow number and a Joffrey number where he dies by eating the pie.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was going to be Lady Olenna for one number, but I just couldn't figure it out. I could not find the sound files I want. It wasn't working out.
Yeah.
But I forgot to advertise it earlier, but that show is February 4th at Dragon Distillery in Maryland. Make sure you get your tickets ASAP because they're going to go.
Oh man, I need to come to your neck of the woods and see some shows.
Oh yeah, we got lots of fun stuff out here.
Tell your mom. She keeps trying to get me out there.
Oh yeah. I was going to say, tell Paula to get you out here. I'll have my husband contact you, and if it's a week we're doing Divas Down Under, we'll make sure we get you in for that. I'm making promises, and I'm not the show director, but that's okay.
Whatever, it's fine. I've been meaning to do some sort of East Coast tour situation where I just kind of hit all of my Camp Wannakiki people and everybody else. So,
that'd be cute.
Yeah.
But we have gotten through all of our questions this evening. I want to do a huge shout out just because we didn't get to earlier to all of our Patreons, Lori, Orion, Vicky, Robin, Daniel, Chanel, Estee, Jeremy, Corey, Jess, Josh, and Jake. There was some exclusive Patreon content while Amethyst was at Miss Gay America. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you all for keeping the show going. If you would like to join our Patreon, just go over to patreon.com/InsideTheDragCloset. You can subscribe for exclusive content for as little as $5 a month. If you would like some Inside the Drag Closet merch, just go to www.jadedevere.com/merch. I've actually commissioned new artwork for us. I see Gomez is visiting us now. But we have reached the end of our show for the evening. But Vincent, is there any last parting words or bits of advice you would like to give to everyone who is still watching?
Yeah, thanks for being here. And if you are someone who wants to become a performer in any way, just go do it. If you're someone who's like, I'm really afraid of auditions in theater, just go do it. Get yourself out there. Go to shows. Enjoy it. Because at the end of the day, we're all just playing pretend and lying and dressing out for a living. So it's not that serious. So just have fun.
Exactly. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Like what you just said, it resonated. Like I just did auditions for the New Jersey Renaissance Fair this weekend, and everyone was good. Everybody did such a good job. I can't give too many details because, you know, things are not finalized yet. But for everyone who kind of, you know, don't apologize for what you do. Do what you do and have faith in yourself. You are all amazing and you're all worthy of respect and worthy of love. So yeah. But Vincent, you have been such a delight tonight. Like I hope we keep in touch. Like
Absolutely.
if Pola gets you out here, like let us know because like I'm not that far from that bitch. We are gonna go grab food. Yeah, I would love to meet you in person.
Yes.
For everyone watching, thank you all for hanging on with us. This was an amazing night. We talked about a lot of different topics. It was such a fun night. In 2 weeks, in February, we are tackling another fun topic, which will be baby drag performers. New to the scene, still getting their feet wet. We have 2 amazing performers that are going to be joining us. Ava Rage. That picture is amazing. That outfit is amazing. Those nipples are amazing. And the darling Sedusa Moore will be joining us as well. Hopefully my sister Amethyst will be rejoining us that night. I hope she is okay. Sister, my heart goes out to you. I love you. Everyone watching tonight, thank you all for joining us. And the way I like to end the show now, everybody, thank you. Go out and be the beauty you would like to see in the world.
Yeah.
Good night.
Thank you for joining us on Inside the Drag Closet.